When you do it badly, you don't build a relationship. When you do it the right way, you do build a relationship.
I think you have to just think about it as if you're just trying to collect an audience around your product, like with similar interests, and niche down what your audience is so that you can bring in similar people.
I'm seeking out people who are like-minded.
Ever wonder how those e-commerce brands you admire do it? How they know just the right message to send to the right people at the right time? Guess what? It's not experience. They have the right data and the right tools. They have Klaviyo. Klaviyo's data-driven marketing automation platform is sophisticated enough to power those legendary campaigns from the brands you admire, but they made it simple, easy, and fast enough for anyone to use. Klaviyo helps brands easily create personalized multi-channel marketing campaigns using your most powerful asset, your customers' data. Klaviyo integrates with all leading e-commerce platforms, helping you use your customer data in real time to send more relevant emails and SMS automations. Plus, building a marketing campaign is drag and drop easy. You can get started with your first campaign in under an hour and easily build from there with Klaviyo's best performing templates. Klaviyo gives you all the power of an enterprise marketing automation platform and none of the complexity, so you can compete with the big guys. No wonder more than 65,000 brands can't get enough. To get started with a free trial of Klaviyo, visit klaviyo.com/uncensored. That's KLAVIYO.com/uncensored.
You're listening to E-Commerce Uncensored with Kevin Manel and Jason Caruso.
Hey everyone, and thank you for joining us on another episode of E-Commerce Uncensored. My name is Kevin Manel, and I'm here with
Jason Caruso.
So I want to mention this again, our done-for-you email startup service that we're still taking applications for. So if you need some help with your Klaviyo account, getting your flows going, your campaigns going, or your general setup of your Klaviyo account, text email to 844-643-0745, and you'll get a link back to kind of tell us a little bit about your store, what you're going through, the software you're using, and you're looking like you're going to say something, Jason.
Yeah, I want to say, you want to text the word email, right?
Yeah. Text the word email, EM. I'm working on this. EMAIL to 844-643-0745.
Right. And this is a paid service, guys. Just a heads up, because obviously we're getting text messages from people, and I think there's a little bit of ambiguity in what we're talking about here, but this is a paid service because one of the biggest questions we get in our emails is, I don't know how to set up a flow. My flows aren't working. I don't know how to set up, my campaigns or segments or lists or whatever. So we kept hearing this over and over from people. So we've decided that we're going to help out, but it's obviously there's obviously a fee to it because we can't help everybody for free. And I just want to give a heads up and be clear about that, because I think we're getting a lot of emails from people and they're thinking that we're offering this service as a free service.
Yeah,
but it's not free.
Yeah, and after we get your questionnaire back, where you give us some more information, we'll look over what you're doing and we'll see how we can help and kind of give you a write-up back and see how it goes.
Right.
Today we want to talk about, obviously we continue to talk about email. We're really bullish on email, and today I want to talk about like different ways that you can collect emails. And I think that a lot of people have a mindset, like if they have an e-commerce store, like with an info product, I think it's a little bit easier to develop a free download or an ebook or a video or something. But I think you can still do the same kinds of things with an e-commerce store. It's just like you have to have the mindset that it's not necessarily something like that is going to drive a sale from that ebook or anything like that. You don't have to think about it that way. Like, for instance, if you have like a clothing line or something like that, like I think people struggle with like, okay, well, how am I going to make an ebook if I sell a shirt? I think you have to just think about it as if you're just trying to collect an audience
around your product, like with similar interest, and niche down what your audience is so that you can bring in similar people. So for instance, if you have
Well, let me just stop you.
okay.
What you're saying, I think what you're saying there, because it was a little muddy for me, but I think what you're saying is that you're trying to attract people that are your target audience. So you're trying to
Right.
attract people who would like your products. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they would buy instantly, but over time, building this audience or this list of people will bear fruit is basically, I think, what the crux of that is, right?
Right, exactly. Like if you were gonna like have like some kind of seminar or something, consider it like in a person thing. Like you wanted to get all these people in the same room. So how would you attract them? How would you get the people who are
Your
uh
target.
your target that you can then present your product to?
Yeah, and I think that's a really good analogy, because that's really what you're doing, is like you're trying to build a audience of people who actually want what you're selling. And seminars are exactly that, right? Like you learn something, or you're taught something, and then someone tries to sell you something, and um all they've done is just brought like-minded people, or brought people who are in their target, to one room, and you're kind of doing the same exact thing. So that's a really good analogy, Kev. I think that kind of encompasses what the purpose is. And I think as store owners, and we've struggled with this as well with our clients. Like, most businesses who hire a marketing firms, they're they think that they're hiring magicians who know how to sell products that nobody wants, right? So they think that that's what they're hiring you for, when really what you're hiring a marketing person is because they know the strategies. They know how to do lead gen, or they know how to do conversion, or they know how to do whatever, Facebook ads or Google ads or email marketing or whatever it is. So having a more holistic sort of view of your business is, I think, important, because you never know when that email list is going to get you out of trouble. And we've been in trouble before with some of our businesses, and we've sent emails that instantly gotten us out of trouble. So
Yeah, I think the word, lead gen is important here too, because I think email capture is just another version of lead capture, right? I think when you think about lead capture, sometimes you think about like a service industry, or like,
lead gen,
what did I say?
leads. You said lead
Lead gen.
service.
Lead gen.
Hmm.
So when you think of lead gen, you don't automatically think that could work for e-commerce, but it's really what you want to do, is like you want to pinpoint that person and acquire some level of information from that person, and then sell to them later.
Yeah, it's interesting. We were talking about the whole relationship building in an email, and I've really come full circle with this, because I think there's so many people that do it badly. And when you do it badly, you don't build a relationship. When you do it the right way, you do build a relationship. But Kev, why don't we get into some of the ways that we like to generate leads? And again, I think what you were saying is, before I cut you off, is that as an e-commerce brand, like, you don't think that lead gen is necessarily something that is necessary, right? Like, you're just trying to create ads to get people to buy stuff. But in the world that we live in today, it takes a lot of time for people to buy, unless they know the brand. I mean, then that's a different story. I mean, if you're maybe Coca-Cola, we like to use them a lot. But if you're like Coca-Cola, they're taking like a long view, or a
Yeah.
long approach.
I was thinking about this last week when we were talking about, actually, I don't remember what we talked about last week, but I know it was on my mind and I wanted to mention it, is that I was listening to that book, The Illusion of Money, by, I can't remember his name.
I forgot his name, too.
Ryan Cease, I think his name is. The
Something
Illusion of
like that.
Money, and it's interesting. I never finished it. Like I start books on airplanes, and if the plane ride is not long enough to finish the book, like I never I can't get back into it. I need those
Kyle
alone moments.
Cease.
Kyle, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I have a couple in here that I just couldn't continue listening to, like The Big Leap. Like I start them, I just can't finish them.
It's a little bit of the same too, right? You're like, I get it. Like, okay. But
right. And The Illusion of Money, that guy kind of does the same thing over and he talks about the same thing.
But I was thinking about it because he starts out the book talking about like acting so desperate for money will actually push money away, right? When you kind of like don't worry about the money necessarily, and you build relationships like we're talking about, which is kind of like where that fits in. It's like with a lead capture or lead gen situation or an email capture campaign, being desperate for money, I think pushes people away. So I think when you can change your mindset and just think about it that way, that you're just trying to gather people again and build relationships with them. So,
right.
So
how do we do that?
There's
there's
some standard ways. Like the obvious ways are obviously, just to pop up on your website, right? And there's two different ways that we usually do this depending on where people are. Like there's the offer pop-up, right? You offer 10% off, but like if you're just starting out and people don't even know what your product is, it's kind of weird to offer them 10% when they're coming to your website. So that's where we get into like more of the, giving something away for free, like some kind of ebook or some kind of information. And ebooks can be, we've done it in the past. We've just found information online that we can then create into a PDF. So for instance, if you had some kind of fitness clothing that you're selling, maybe creating a guide to being fit, a workout guide, or even a 10 steps to get fit or something like that. Or we've done it in the past. We had several years ago, we had a fitness, a training facility that we worked for that they needed to bring leads in. And we just created like this menu. What was it? Like a diet. You remember that company that we did business for, Jason, several years ago?
Yeah. No, I don't.
The place downstairs from our office.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I do remember. But we did some sort of, I forgot what it was.
It was a guide to getting fit or something like that. So what you're doing is you're not saying anything about your product. You're just offering a piece of content that will attract the right person who would eventually, potentially be interested in your product.
Ever wonder how those e-commerce brands you admire do it? How they know just the right message to send to the right people at the right time? Guess what? It's not experience. They have the right data and the right tools. They have Klaviyo. Klaviyo's data-driven marketing automation platform is sophisticated enough to power those legendary campaigns from the brands you admire, but they made it simple, easy, and fast enough for anyone to use. Klaviyo helps brands easily create personalized multi-channel marketing campaigns using your most powerful asset, your customers' data. Klaviyo integrates with all leading e-commerce platforms, helping you use your customer data in real time to send more relevant emails and SMS automations. Plus, building a marketing campaign is drag and drop easy. You can get started with your first campaign in under an hour and easily build from there with Klaviyo's best performing templates. Klaviyo gives you all the power of an enterprise marketing automation platform and none of the complexity, so you can compete with the big guys. No wonder more than 65,000 brands can't get enough. To get started with a free trial of Klaviyo, visit klaviyo.com/uncensored. That's KLAVIYO.com/uncensored.
Right. And the idea is to, it's funny because I heard this quote from Matt Fury, who is a email copywriter. And he said that, and he must've got it from somewhere else, but I heard it from him. He said that money rewards speed. Right. So why I'm saying that is because if you don't have a guide that is yours, just go grab somebody else's online. You don't have to say that it's yours. You could say things like 10 tips to ironing your clothes so they never get wrinkled. And it doesn't have to be yours. You could just go on the internet, search 10 tips for ironing your clothes, grab the PDF, and then you just give them credit, or you just don't change their branding or whatever. The point is not really the thing you're giving away having to be yours. The point is that you're just trying to attract the people that would potentially buy your product later.
Yeah, maybe if you see that work, then you can eventually, create your own type of guide to make it more authentic, maybe, and optimize it and do it that way. But to wait till you have all this information together is just a waste of time, because who
Yeah.
knows if it's going to work.
Yeah, and then, like, the other thing is that we're seeing with one of our clients is that um that email list, and this is something, Kev, that I don't think we've ever talked about, but I see it happening with Revair. And that is basically, you get people on your email list. They may not buy for a while, but they get your emails. Then maybe a friend of theirs gets the product. And now when we're, because of all these supply chain issues, everybody's kind of going out of stock with their products. Those people are there waiting for your product. And we
Right.
see that now. Like, whenever that product goes out of stock, it's like, we're like, oh crap. But then the minute it comes back in stock, we send an email and the thing just blows up.
Yeah, during that time, we continue while they're out of stock, while people are signing up to just get notified. We're continuing to send them emails and just keep them on the leash, so to speak, so that when it does happen, they're there.
Right.
And speaking of them, we do a lot of this email capture for them, and we do have our 10% off opt-in on their website, and that does work because they have a large audience at this point. They have a lot of brand awareness. People know who they are, so when people come to the site, they we do get signups from that just organically. But we also have a big presence on their blog that we've built over the last 2 years that just offers up more information about hair tips and things like that. So in those instances, when you're bringing in organic traffic to a piece of information, a 10% off coupon, like I said earlier, really isn't, is if that's their first touch point with your brand, it's like, well, with 10% off what? Like, I'm here to gather some information. What does this mean? So that's where we bring in some, we have a guide for hair tips. It's called the Healthy Hair Blog or something, or Healthy Hair Handbook or something, that we offer up on those specific pages, on the product pages, and on the, the brand page, on the specific e-commerce side of things. That's where we offer the pop-up for 10% off. When they're just looking for information, that's where we offer them more information for their email.
Right. So you have to understand the psychology of the visit.
Right. Exactly.
So a guide is one thing. What else you got on your list there, Kev?
No, you can use the guide, like take that guide, and then you can just turn it into a video. People love, for me, I download guides, I sign up to guides, I never read them.
75% of everybody who does that, that's what they do.
Right. I think videos can make it easier to consume. So take that information, turn it into a more easily consumable piece of content, which would be a video. For me, I'll sign up for like a video training or a webinar, things like that, and I'm more likely to go through those types of things than like a PDF that I have to take time to read through.
Yeah, and also I think everybody consumes their content differently too.
Yeah, absolutely. So to have both, I think, is a really good strategy. And again, like, I feel like when you mention webinar or quote unquote video trainings, you're like, well, how am I going to like do a video training on my t-shirts? Right? Like but that's not the point here. The point is to attract the right person. That's it. Like, do a training on ironing, like Jason said, ironing clothes. Like, if you're selling an iron, do best ways to iron your clothes.
Yeah, you just got to find a problem that your audience is experiencing.
Yeah. So those two things, like the videos and the PDF guides, are just like free information, those kinds of things. I also think that giveaways is also, we've made a lot of money on giveaways throughout the last few years. And again, maybe if someone doesn't know what your product is necessarily, or trying to build a brand, maybe giving away your product isn't that enticing. Maybe you find something else that you can give away, a tangible thing that you can run a giveaway toward, that will bring more people in to your email list, and then the right kind of people in, and then you can sell them on your specific product that you want to get them involved with later. And then the last one on my list, Jason, is just the abandoned carts. That's like a no-brainer for me. Make sure you're bringing in those emails as they're going through your shopping cart. I know Shopify does it but make sure those emails are flowing into your email platform as well.
But is that lead gen?
It's not really lead gen. It's just like one of those things that I think people don't realize is that you can just, especially on Shopify, the 2-step Shopify process is that you're gathering those email addresses on that first step. And then they get to the second step where they have to give their credit card. And a good percentage of people are leaving at that point. You have captured that email at that point. So
Yeah, I mean, and then there is software that will collect emails on your checkout page as well before they even submit anything. Another thing that you can do is like a 3-part video. We've done 3-part videos with our golf course. We've done 1 video for our wildlife photography business. We've done, another thing that you can do, and we do this a lot with the wildlife photography business, is instead of reinventing the wheel, we grab an article out of an already released magazine. So the Journal of Wildlife Photography, which is one of our businesses, is a digital magazine, and all we do is take an article out of there and we use that as a download. So that's another thing that you can do. There's several pieces of bait that you can use, and the idea with all of it is to build your list, but to build it with people who actually are connected or are looking for help with the product that you're selling. So if you're selling, golf clubs, you don't want to have like a download for basketballs, right? Like that doesn't do any good. And even if I'm selling golf clubs, I don't necessarily want to get people on my list who like golf carts or,
Be specific, right?
Right. You want to make sure that you're attracting the people who would actually want your stuff. So for instance, right now we have a golf ad going on Facebook. And the ad talks about how I used to be, or how I took this test to become a golf professional. And how I lowered my scores really quickly. And then at the end of the ad, I say, if you want more tips on how to lower your scores, sign up for my newsletter. So, right, the idea is that I'm seeking out people who are like-minded and who want the information or the physical product.
And you're just not looking for people who like golf or who it's like a hobby of theirs. You're looking for actually people who want to improve what they're doing.
Right, because you're a golfer and you don't really necessarily try to improve what you're doing. You're not my target audience. I mean, just because you play golf a few times a year, that's not really who I'm looking for. I'm looking for the guy who, like me, has clubs sitting around his office, and every time I get up, I grab one and I'm trying to fix something.
Yeah, exactly. So be specific, niche down.
Yeah, and you'll be surprised at what that email list can do for you over time. I mean, we've seen it over and over, whether it's with Revere or whether it's with the Journal of Wildlife Photography or whether it's with the golf business. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Once again, text the word email to 844-643-0745 to get involved in our email startup program, service, I guess you can call it. And we'll get back to you with a little link to fill out a little application where you can tell us a little bit about your store and what you're looking to do. And then we'll look at it. We'll get back to you and see how we can help.
That's right.
Thank you guys so much for listening. As always, you can check us out at ecommerceuncensored.com, and we'll talk to you guys real soon.
Later.
Attention e-commerce founders, entrepreneurs, side hustlers, marketers, and growth hackers. If you're working around the clock to build your dream e-commerce business, you need an e-commerce marketing platform that works just as hard as you do. That means you need Klaviyo. With Klaviyo, you'll delight customers and drive revenue at the same time. With personalized email and SMS marketing campaigns, you can design and send in minutes. For more, visit klaviyo.com/uncensored. That's KLAVIYO.com/uncensored.